Hey, I'm Nikki and welcome to the Preppy Possum. Today I'm going to lead you step by step through a painting. All right, let's paint a heirloom pumpkin with some rain boots. I'm going to start out by grabbing maybe like a number 6 size brush, something like that, and dry it off. And grab some really light pink, so some baby pink with like some pale orange, like a tangerine orange. So pale pink and tangerine orange. And we're gonna jump down just a smidge from the top, so just like 1.5 or 2, and we're gonna throw a circle. And don't worry about what your circle looks like, because heirloom pumpkins are kind of funky anyway. And we're gonna come back and bump out the edges, so it won't really matter. Trying to make sure I have a good start to it. But once you get your little circle on there, then just grab a bunch of that light pink and tangerine, and we're just gonna fill it all in. So kind of grab a glob and go for it. So you have a start to our pumpkin. So we'll just wipe that one off. And let's go ahead and draw in, like kind of rough in our boots. So just kind of wipe that brush off. And you can do your boots any color, but I'm just gonna do mine like a black kind of color or a dark gray. So I'm gonna grab dark gray with a tiny bit of black. And I'm just gonna like skip right here to the edge and kind of start one side of it. And then I'm gonna skip over at least like 3 or 4 inches. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I might skip in just a smidge from the edge. I just wanna make sure my legs are like kind of similar in size. So I might have to move them out a little. Lean back, make sure I get them about the same. There, that's a good start, I guess. And then I'm just gonna taper them. I'm gonna let them get a little bit skinnier as it comes up. And it's kind of like you're looking down on the pumpkin, so they're gonna kind of look short, but that's, you know, how you want them to look for perspective wise. And you can always tweak these, so don't worry if you get them on there and you have one foot way bigger than the other. Let's see. Try to make sure I get my, I might go ahead and right at the bottom just to kind of get placement. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little whoop like a rainbow. And that's gonna be kind of like the little placeholder for our leggings. So I might go ahead and do that. That way I can kind of see it a little bit better. Because I guess I have room to make my feet a little bit bigger, or my pumpkin bigger. Let's see. I'll probably just make my pumpkin a little bit bigger because I think perspective wise, that's probably a good size for my boots. So once we have those on there, just grab some of that black and dark gray and we'll just go ahead and fill them all in with a layer just to get a little bit of paint on there. But like I said, you could do your boots any color. So if you wanted to do something bright, or like red. That might look cool with the, if you're keeping it fall. And don't worry that it's streaky, because we'll come back and throw another layer on there. All right. So we got a little start to our boots. So let's go ahead and grab some black kind of by itself, and we'll go ahead and fill in the bottom part, which is like our leggings, because you're like kind of looking down at your legs. So we'll just do that on both sides. So we have that started. Let's go ahead and wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and let's grab like a number 4. So grab a number 4 and dry it off, and we'll grab a little bit of like off-white with a little bit of sandy tan. So off-white with a little bit of like sandy tan kind of color. And we're gonna skip to the, well, a little bit above center, so a little bit above the center of your circle. And we're just gonna do a funky little shape in here for like, kind of like a little placeholder for our stem. So mine's gonna be like a little bit smaller on top, and then I'm just gonna kind of bump it out. It kind of actually looks like a little pumpkin, a messy little pumpkin. And then just kind of fill it in with a layer of off-white and tan. And don't worry if your paint's still wet or anything like that, because we're gonna come back to it. All right, so now that you got your placeholder there, go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And let's use a teeny tiny brush, so like a number 1. You could have used that number 4 if you're good at getting skinny, or you can switch out to like a number 1 and dry it off. And we'll grab some of the dark orange and like a milk chocolate brown. So like a darker orange, like a true kind of orange. And we'll go ahead and start like maybe up here towards the top and throw you like a little line that goes to the edge. And just kind of hit these once. It's okay that your paint's still wet, because we'll come back and hit them again in a little bit. And then I would like skip down here maybe like across from it and throw another one. And these don't have to be perfectly straight, because you know how heirloom pumpkins are really bumpy. So I wouldn't try to be too perfect with it. And then once you have like diagonals there, then I would maybe skip up here and throw you like a little one that goes to the edge. And then I would do the same thing like somewhere down here. And then once you have that start, then I would go in and throw like 1 or 2 lines. Like in some places you can do 2, like up here, I have a big space, so I might do 2 to separate it. Because in an heirloom pumpkin, you don't really want them, they're not all gonna be the same. It's not too perfect. Then over here on this side, I might throw 2, or I'll go ahead and throw one down here because there's just enough space for one probably. And then over here, I'll just do 1. Over here on this side, I guess I'll do 2. It probably would have been fine with 1 or 2. But that way you have some different size, so it's not too perfect. So now that you have that on there, then just kind of wipe that one off and chunk it, and we're gonna grab a number 4 again. And we're using that baby pink and tangerine, to the same colors we used to throw the pumpkin on there originally. We're gonna use those same 2 colors. And now through each section, so it's gonna be just in between your lines, we're gonna kind of throw it out And whenever you're throwing your little bumps out, they can be, you know, different. So you just want to do these like in between where your little lines hit. And you want it, you know, these sections to not be all exactly the same, because that's what's going to kind of make it look more like a pumpkin. If you happen to get like some of that dark orange or something mixed in there, because we'll come back and hit our pumpkin a few times. So we got a good little start to our pumpkin. So let's go ahead and wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and let's grab a little bit bigger size brush, maybe like a size 8 or something, and dry it off. And we're gonna grab kind of some dark chocolate brown and milk chocolate brown together. So just kind of a little mixture of browns. And we're gonna get all the big areas of our canvas, just leave a little bit of room around your boots and your pumpkin, because we'll come back with a smaller brush. Or, I don't know, this one is not too huge. We might be able to get up next to everything with it. It's up to you. You can use this brush or a little bit smaller. But I would just start by getting all the big areas. And then once you have all the big kind of parts, now we'll get up next to everything. So you can swap out to a smaller brush if you need to. I might just go ahead and use this one, because I know we're gonna hit it all again anyway. So don't worry if your pumpkin mixes in, because we'll hit our pumpkin again and we're gonna hit our dirt again. All the way up next to the boots. When we come back and hit the boots again, I might have to make them like a little bit wider down here. All right. So you have us a little start to our background. So we're gonna let that dry for just a second, and then that way we can hit everything again. So just wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And we're gonna let it dry for just a sec. Now that we let it dry just a smidge, let's go ahead and grab a teeny tiny brush, so like a number 1, and dry it off. And we're gonna grab maybe like a little bit of dark brown and dark gray together. And go ahead and skip up to the top of your stem. And we'll just start with like a little bumpy circle kinda. You know, the little part where you cut the stem off. So we'll throw like a bumpy little circle up there. And then we'll go ahead and throw like a few little streaks down from it. So it kind of right now it looks like a little cloud with like streamers coming off of it. All right, so we got our little cloud with our little streamers, and then through the edge of that stem, we'll just do like kind of little circles that aren't perfect, just little curly cues, like you're adding like little eyelashes, kind of little curls to make the like bumpy part. And we'll come back and mess that up more. But once we have the start of that on there, then you can just kind of wipe off your extra paint and grab some more of that off-white and tan. And we'll just go back and kind of bump a little bit more in there to kind of mingle it a little bit. Blend it just a tiny bit and just get more texture on there. It's like anywhere your streamers got thick, your little stem, just kind of streak back in there with some light. And we'll do the same thing through the little bumpy part. Just kind of throw a few more little whoops over there to kind of blend it. And then we can always come back later and add more lights or darks, but that just gets us a start to our stem. All right, so we got a start to our stem. So now let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And let's go ahead and grab a number 6, and dry it off. And we're gonna use some more of that gray and black together. So mostly dark gray with a little bit of black. And this is where you can go in and tweak your boots a little. I think I'm gonna make mine maybe just a teeny tiny bit longer. Even though I might have to skinny them up right there with the dirt in a second. But we're just kind of getting another layer of paint on our boots just to get them kind of thickened up. And then I can come back in a second and get their shape a little bit better. But just to get your paint good and thickened up on there. All right, so we got to start on our boots. Now let's go ahead and wipe that one off. Well, let's grab a little bit of black. So wipe it off and grab some black. And while we're down here, let's just throw another layer through our leggings. All right. So we got our leggings thickened up. So then we'll just wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And let's grab a little bit smaller size again, so like a 4. And dry it off. And let's grab some more of that light pink and orange. And we're just gonna kind of throw another layer in through our pumpkin. And whenever you're getting this layer, hopefully our background's a little bit more dry than it was. We can go ahead and kind of take it back over the edge of that brown if we ate away at our pumpkin too much anywhere. And you can skinny up your little lines that separate your little sections. If any of them got a little crazy, we might come back and hit those lines again in a minute, but. But I think this will kind of, once we get this all thickened up, I don't think we'll have to hit our little pumpkin again. All right, so we got that kind of thickened up. I still like it a little bit more pink. So I'm gonna go in and throw a few more streaks of pink just because I like how, I know some of y'all are like a pink pumpkin, but a lot of the heirloom ones have pretty colors. But it has a little bit of a pink undertone. All right, so we have a layer on our pumpkin. I might even throw this bottom out just a little bit further. All right, now let's wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and let's grab like a number 8 again. So number 8, and we're gonna grab the 2 browns again, but I would grab even more milk chocolate just so we don't get quite as dark this time. And we're just gonna kind of thicken up all the big areas of our canvas. Just don't get right up next to your pumpkin because you don't wanna paint over it. But our boots, I might actually slim those up maybe in a place or two. But it's okay if your background's still a little streaky, and we're still gonna come back and throw the vine on there too, but just to get it kind of thickened up. It'll be easier to thicken up now, and then we won't have to go around our little vines. All right, so let's let that dry for a sec. So we'll wipe that one off, chunk it in the water. Let's go ahead and hit the rim of our boots. So we'll grab like a number 4 and dry it off. And to do like the little top part of the boot, I would grab like some light gray and dark gray together. So number 4 and dry it off, and maybe the light and dark gray together. And then kind of right on the outside of our black, we're just gonna do a little whoop. If your black happened to get a little too big or something, you could just do it over the edge of it. All right. So we got a good little... Got a little wonky, but that's okay. So we'll wipe that one off, chunk it in the water, and we're gonna let it dry for just a sec. Let's get some vines on this bad boy. So I would use like a number 4 or number 6, whichever y'all wanna use, and grab, let's start out with like some light green and like medium green together. And we're gonna throw like a few leaves. So you can do yours however you wanna do, but I'm gonna throw one like up here in the top corner. And for right now, I'm just kind of getting some color on there. So don't worry about too much what it looks like. And then I'm gonna throw one like maybe midway down or something. Kind of give it a bumpy edge. Maybe down here. And then I might throw like a little part of a leaf or something up here because I'm probably gonna throw like a couple of vines. So I'm gonna throw like a little something, crumpled one. Because you know how pumpkin leaves are like kind of crumply. And then once you get all your little starts of your leaves, then we're gonna throw a few vines. So I'm gonna throw like a vine off of that one. I'm gonna throw like a vine going around our pumpkin up here at the top. But you can do your vines however, and you can have more or less. We'll throw one coming into there. Maybe like a vine over here. All right, so we got the start of our vines and stuff. Now let's grab some really light green, maybe even some pale yellow. You could even mix in a little bit of off-white. And we're gonna throw like a little bit of light through our leaves. So I like to do like a bumpy little edge of light, like near the edge of the leaves, and then just kind of bump a little bit more through there. And then once it dries, we can always come back and throw a little bit too. But once you get like a few of those bumps, you could even grab like a little bit more off-white because you want like a few like brighter places. Maybe even a little bit of dark green. Throw like a few little dark green streaks. Just to get you some texture going on. Then once it dries here in a sec, we can see if we need to add more. All right, now that we have that, so a start to our leaves, let's go ahead and chunk that one in the water and grab a little bit smaller brush, so like a number 4. Or you could use a teeny tiny, but I'm gonna start with a number 4 and dry it off. And I'm gonna grab a little bright white. And you don't have to do this part if you want to, but I'm gonna add a little label. And if you wanted to, like, instead of writing like Hunter Boots or something, if you wanted to do like your last name, that'd be cute too. But I'm gonna put the label on there first, and then you can flip it upside down and write it. But whenever you're doing your labels, it doesn't matter if yours are like longer or shorter. I would just make sure you make them about the same size. So just like a little rectangle that kind of curves with the top of your boot. So if you had like a short last name, that'd be cute. But now that I got the labels on there, I might go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk that one in the water. While I'm waiting for my labels to dry, I might streak up my boots just really quick. Add a couple more streaks. You could grab like a number 4 or 6. I'm gonna add like a little bit of dark. Let's see. Just to get, I think it looks good for him to be like a little streaky, but it's kind of, you know, whatever look you like. So I wanted to add a little bit of black to the tip, and then that got him a little streakier. All right, so we'll use the teeny tiny brush and a little bit of red, and I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of red to the outside of my little labels. Probably should have wrote the word first in case I need to make the labels bigger or something, but I think I got my labels big enough to fit. But whenever you're doing it at home, if you want to do like a long last name or something, I would like throw it in there first before you outline it. Before you throw a little bit of paint around it. All right, and once we have a little bit of red, because you don't want it to be too perfect, we'll go ahead and I'm gonna flip it upside down probably. So just flip it and use that same teeny tiny. And now I'm gonna write like, you know, I'm gonna do Hunter, like Hunter Boots, but you can write like whatever you want on there. And if any of your letters get like too thick or something, you can just let them dry for a sec and then come back with some paint and kind of thin them up. So we have, you can always go back and kind of, if you needed to, with white and like skinny up anything. And then now I'm gonna flip it right back and use that same teeny tiny and just sign that puppy. And now we have the boots with the pumpkin. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check us out. We're on Cox Street in Asheboro. And be sure to check out our website, www.thepreppypossum.com.